children, in the last class we have discussed about processing of fibers into wool. In today's class we will discuss about another animal fiber that is called as silk. Silk fibers are also example for animal fibers. Silkworms spin the silk fibers. From silkworm we will obtain silk fibers. I think you heard about name that is called as sericulture. That word you heard, I think, sericulture. That is called as reshme. In Kannada we call that as reshme hulu sakanike. Okay. Sericulture. The rearing of silkworms for obtaining silk is called as sericulture. What is sericulture? The rearing of silkworms for obtaining silk is called as sericulture. It is a large occupation in India. It is giving more benefits for some of the people. They are working under this field. Sericulture means what? The rearing of silkworms for obtaining silk is called as sericulture. Now we have discussed in detail about the life history of silk moth or life cycle of silk moth. This life cycle of silk moth involves, first it will be considered as adult silk moth, and then it will be egg, and then it will be a worm, silk worm or larva stage. Next it will be pupa stage, and then again that develop cocoon stage, then it will be developed into again adult silk moth. These are the stages in the life history of silk moth. We will discuss one by one. First, here you can see these two, that is adult silk moth. One is male, another one is female silk moth. They will lay eggs on the mulberry leaves. Usually mulberry leaves are considered here. Mulberry leaves, mulberry leaves, they lay hundreds of eggs on the mulberry leaves. These eggs will hatch and they will develop into a larva, that is called as larva of silk moth. Silk moth is called as a caterpillar, and the larva is also called as a silkworm. And this silkworm spins around itself a silk fibers, it's a type of protein. Then it will enter into the stage that is called as a pupa stage. This is called as a cocoon. It is called cocoon. Then it will enter into next stage, that is cocoon with the developing moth, and then it will develop into adult silk moth. And here these moths are red, silkworms are red, and then what happened? This cocoon will be taken for obtaining silk fiber. This is a life history of silk moth or life cycle of silk moth. There are different stages. First adult, then eggs and larva stage, then pupa stage, then cocoon stage. Again, then it will enter into adult silk moth stage. These are the different stages in the life history of a silk moth. You have to draw this diagram in your practical week. Life history of like this only you have to draw, and you have to show arrow mark properly. After which stage it will enter into which stage, that you have to show with the help of arrow mark. Like this you have to draw all these diagrams in the practical book. Okay. Then you have to write explanation about that. I will tell what you have to write the explanation. I think you understood what are these caterpillar larva and this stage eggs and larva stage, pupa stage, and then this male and female adult moth. Next we will discuss in detail about the life history of silk moth. See, the female silk moth lays eggs from which hatch into larva. This female silk moth, what happened? It lays hundreds of eggs on a mulberry leaves, and then they will hatch into, they will come out and they will develop into what? Silkworms. That silkworm larva is called as a caterpillar. Okay, The female silk moth lays eggs from which hatch larvae called caterpillar, or it is also called as a silkworm. They grow in size and enter next stage, that is called as a pupa stage. You saw that one in the diagram, pupa stage. It first views a net to hold itself, and then it swings its head from side to side in the form of figure 8. In the shape of 8, it swings its head. It changes its position and in the shape of 8, and it swings, and it will start to develop what? Fibers. And then during this movement, larva secretes a fiber made up of protein. And that larva during pupa stage, what it will do? It secretes a what type of protein, type of fiber that is called as made up of protein. And which harden that protein when exposed to air, and it will become hard and hardens on exposed to air. When it that protein, that fiber that enters when it is exposed to the air, and it will become what? Hard and becomes silk fiber. Exposed to air and it will become hard, and that will be converted into what? Silk fiber. And larva completely cover itself by silk fiber and turns into what? Pupa. And larva completely cover itself into a silk fiber with the help of protein. It will cover itself, and that stage is called as a cocoon stage. And then stage is called as a pupa stage. That will be called as cocoon, and that stage is called as a pupa. This covering is called as a cocoon. That covering, a protein covering, I told, no, silk fiber covering, I told, that is called as a cocoon. The development of pupa into moth. That pupa will be developed into adult moth. That will be continuous inside the cocoon. Inside that cocoon only, that pupa will develop into what? Moth. These silk fibers are used for what? Weaving silk cloth. The silk fiber that what we obtain by this silk moth, that is used for weaving silk cloth. The silk fiber that is very strong, you know that one, and that is used for preparing silk cloths, you know, silk sari, silk, other different types of materials. Next, these silk fibers are used for weaving silk cloth. Silk yarn is also strong as comparable thread of steel. It is very strong and is comparatively strong as a steel thread. There are different types of what? Silk fibers, or there are different types of silk. You heard about there are different types of silk. Depending on the type of silk moth, they are classified into different types of silk. There are different types of silk. One is mulberry silk. Usually they lay eggs on the mulberry leaves, and they feed on mulberry leaves, some that silk moth, and that's why that is called as mulberry silk. It is a very common silk, and the scientific name of mulberry plant is called as Morus alba. You have to remember, very important, scientific name of mulberry plant is Morus alba. And then another one is Tassar silk. That is Tassar silk. Next one is Eri silk and Muga silk and Kosa silk. These are the different types of silk. Based on the silk fibers and based on the silk yarn, these are classified into, they are very soft. These silk fibers are soft, shiny and lustrous in nature. You have to remember that one. These are shiny, soft, lustrous in nature. They are very soft, you know about that. These types of silk are mulberry silk, very common, very important one, mulberry silk. That is scientific name of mulberry plant is Morus alba. And next Tassar silk, next Eri silk, next Muga silk and Kosa silk. These are the different types of silk. Okay, this is about the life history of silk moth and different types of silk. In the next class, we will discuss about the rearing of silk moth or silkworm. From this cocoon, we are obtaining the what? Silk fibers, and silkworms are reared and they will develop into adult silk moth. Okay, if you have any doubt, you can ask. Thank you.